and welcome to today's Andy Subway update for Friday, July 21st, 2017. I am back in my studio here in Queens. Thank goodness. Now, if you did see my update from Monday, I had to record it out of Walgreens, and I unfortunately had to use my data, but I made sure that update was very, very brief because we had a real subway emergency this past Monday involving the track fire in Harlem that affected the A, B, C, and D trains at the 145th Street station. Ladies and gentlemen, trash is our enemy, and it's caused by ignorance. And Joe Lhota was talking about it, believe it or not, on, I believe, Tuesday or Wednesday this week. We're going to talk about what he said, and he's even considering the idea of banning all food together. But first up, to lead up the subway update, we're going to talk about another subway derailment. And thankfully, this was a minor one, nothing like we had involving the derailment in Harlem last month, and especially not the same type of derailment we had by Roosevelt Avenue in 2014. This is just a little minor incident that happened in Brooklyn today, so I'm going to talk about it. This morning, a Q train, there we go, got my information right, was leaving the Sheepshead Bay station and was trying to complete its route to Coney Island, Stillwell Avenue. As the train was pulling up towards the Brighton Beach station, one of the car's wheels was not going on the track as it was turning. And because of that, one of the cars derailed. And thankfully, whoever was the conductor on that train did the right thing and slowed it down, because from what the passengers said on the train as it was derailing, the train was moving slow anyway. So it gave the conductor enough time to pull the brake, not jam it and make the train completely stop, just pull it slowly so that way nobody would get hurt. Well, there was one minor injury involving a pregnant woman having a sore back, and she was taken to the hospital. But other than that, no life-threatening injuries, nothing too big that involved mass amount of people going to the hospital from this derailment. And the MTA really responded quickly to this issue. They made sure to get a emergency train sent to pick up those people and bring them right back to the Sheepshead Bay station, because that's where they were taking off from. They were almost in between Brighton Beach and Sheepshead Bay, but they did the right thing, the MTA, bringing those people back. So I'm not going to talk about the lines running on different lines. What I'm going to do, because I've researched this carefully, as of 12 noon today, there is northbound service. It's limited, but it's running. Now, I want to talk to the people who are trying to get to Coney Island for, I don't know, fun or work probably, because there are people who work in Coney Island. So, if there is no southbound service for the afternoon commute, here's what I'm recommending that people do if they're trying to get on the B or the Q and it somehow stops at the Brighton Beach station. From Brighton Beach, you're going to want to take the B68 bus, okay? It's by Brighton 5th Street. If you want to think about walking to the B32, good luck, because that's a 15-minute walk. So you're better off just leaving from the station, going to the B68 from Brighton Beach, And the last stop is the Stillwell Avenue bus terminal in Coney Island. So if you're trying to get to Coney Island this afternoon, that's your best bet if the B and the Q's last stop is Brighton Beach. And I didn't look up how to do it from Sheepshead Bay. But I know if you're in Brighton Beach and you're trying to get to Coney Island, that's your best bet for the rest of the afternoon. So please keep that in mind. Now on to Joe Lhota thinking about banning food on the subway. And yes, this has to do with what happened in Harlem on Monday. The MTA concluded a day after the track fire. Thankfully, the train didn't derail in Harlem again. After the track fire, the MTA quickly concluded on Tuesday that the track fire was caused by, yes, trash. And the Daily News had an article this past week saying how de Blasio and Lhota are arguing over Lhota's idea to ban food on the subways. Now, I'm going to admit, I have eaten food on the subway before, okay? And I'm very responsible with my trash. In fact, that's why I bring a backpack on the subway. Because I know I can store the trash until I get out and look for a trash can. Because I sometimes will look around the stations, I'll look outside of the stations, but I know that's the right thing I do. Because I'm looking out for my fellow Straphangers at the end of the day. But Harlem is sort of a trash zone when it comes to people dumping their trash on the tracks. Could be your casual homeless person, or it could be somebody just not realizing where the trash can is in general. And you know where they do it? They dump it on the tracks. And that is very disgraceful. So Lhota thinks that the best way to get rid of this problem is banning people eating food in the subway. Which, quite frankly, I think that is a terrible idea, and I actually happen to agree with Mayor de Blasio. Because this is a very fast-paced city. I mean, when you look at the other cities across the country, whether it's Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, I can name a couple top of my head, but I won't. New York City is the fastest moving city you'll see in all of America. And for people who don't have time to eat, let's say, in a restaurant or eating wherever they work, you know where they have to eat? The subways. I have done that before when I've been short on time. And honestly, I feel that it is a dumb idea to even present in the first place. Now, I do agree with Mr. Lhota that they should expand the vacuum track sweep program that they've been doing for the past couple of months. But at my station, Kew Gardens Union Turnpike, unfortunately, the trash is still there. People are still dumping there. It makes me very annoyed that the track fire could happen there and it could screw up the express subway tracks. And honestly, the best thing that they should do is, again, I agree with Mr. Lhota, expand the vacuum program. Do it overnights when people are not using the subway as much. But my idea would be to put the trash cans by the turnstiles. That would be one idea I would propose. I would also suggest that when you're going upstairs, when you're in your terminal, I'm not talking about where the tracks are, because that's a bad idea, but I'm talking about where you go upstairs before you go to the turnstiles. That would be another appropriate place to put the trash cans. Because then you don't have to worry about it when you're leaving your station. So that would be one idea I would like to propose. But you're not going to tell people not to eat on the subway when in New York City, time is very important. And when New Yorkers lose time, it doesn't help. So, for Joe Lhota to express that idea, I think it's very idiotic. And like our mayor and like me, I've eaten on the subway, and I feel it's not the best idea. So, Joe Lhota needs to get his head screwed on tightly because he's crazy for even suggesting that idea. Now, he has suggested that we should have what types of foods to ban, but, Mr. Lhota, you're not our nutritionist. If we want to eat a bag of chips in the subway, that's what I want to do, and that's what my other Straphangers want to do. So, obviously, it's just not what I would be saying in that situation. So, that's the update. And one more quick note before I end the video. While I was away, I've only heard one minor problem with the Long Island Railroad recently, since I was not uploading regularly. Thankfully, I have somebody who tells me this information. And no, it's not Pine Power, it's somebody else. From what I've heard recently, the Penn Station track repairs so far, from what I've heard, are going very well. And there has yet to been any cause for the term summer of hell. But all I can say is, for us subway riders, I think we're the ones who've ended up with the summer of hell so far, since the Long Island Railroad track repairs have started. I mean, when you look at what's happened, we had a track fire, and now we had a derailment, so, yeah. So, a couple more weeks to go. We are almost at the end of this month, thankfully. And hopefully, August will snap its fingers, and then September will come, and then finally they'll be done with the track work over there. So, that's all for today. I just quickly want to recap what I talked about. We had a subway derailment in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn today, and I also discussed Joe Lhota's crazy idea of banning food on the subways. So until next time, take care.